Hello, everyone in podcast listening land. I'm Karen Devaney.
And I'm Ann Varner.
And we're sisters.
Welcome to Sugar Coated Murder, where we'll discuss
and probably inappropriately laugh about and comment on.
Yep, one of our favorite subjects.
Murder. Oh, and we love to bake. And why not combine our two favorite subjects?
Baking
and killers.
Sugar?
We are doing an Anything But Murder Shorty episode.
We are.
We have our dear friend Carol with us. Carol, introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Carol Cottrell, and I'm a psychic medium.
We're very excited to have you on. Thank you.
Yeah, did you know we were coming?
I could sense it. I could sense Karen a mile away.
Well, only a mile? Like, that's not impressive.
She brought all of her pain and discomfort with her.
I really did. I'm so sorry that I've done that to you. But anyway.
All right, so we've got a psychic medium. We say in the house, but this is your house. Well, not your house, your office.
Right.
But this is so exciting. I think that we're going to have a lot of fun with this.
Do you have a lot of spirits here with you today?
Or always have lots of spirits.
Are they marching in and out? Or are they
No.
They trying to tell you to get out?
Get out now. Like, get out while you can.
Yeah.
Because these girls are about to mess you up. No, I like to turn them off when I'm not working.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I'm not working right now. Am I?
No.
Am I? Okay, good.
You're not. No, because we're not paying you.
Yeah.
That's the first way that you know.
Right. So yes, I'm not working. I'm turned off. So
Good.
if they are trying to talk to me right now, they're just going to have to wait.
Will they leave a message?
They do. I'm like, leave a message after the beep.
And you have to check them.
Or do they just go on call waiting?
You know, some of them can be persistent. Even when I tell them I'm not working, they'll do crazy things. Like the other day I was in my car, and I had a dream a couple of days before that was very clear. I'd asked this person to come through and give me a message in my dreams. She did, but I ignored the dream.
Oh.
And thought, I'll just blow that off. That was probably just coincidence. So 2 days later, I was driving through this person's neighborhood. My radio was off, right? Not volume down, radio off. All of a sudden, my radio comes on full blast. Like, scared the heck out of me.
Sure.
I leaped. And it was Don Henley's Boys of Summer. And there's the lines that said something about being a dream. Remember how I made you crazy? Remember how I made you scream?
Yes.
And then the radio turned off. I looked at it to see, like, is it off? And the time above it was 1:11.
There you go.
And I said, I get it. I'm hearing you. That wasn't just a dream. I'm supposed to act on what you told me. I get
That's
it.
Awesome.
So, yeah. So, even when I try to turn them off, if they really want to get something
they
through.
can be persistent.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So how did this all happen? Like,
yeah,
how
tell us
long
about
have
your
you been
childhood
in the medium business?
God, my childhood. Is this a therapy session?
It can be. Then you'd be paying us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, never mind.
So it's not. Because we're not qualified.
No, gosh, no.
No, I don't think so. That would worry me.
Although, if you could learn just by participating, I am definitely a therapist.
You've got lots of experience.
Oh my God, yes. I could therapize anybody. I know the drill.
Well, good. Well, I don't think I want to be in therapy right now, but I will.
Should it be? You'll need it after we leave.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sure I will. My husband will be like, "Oh, Lord."
Yes.
But it started when I was little. I didn't know it. Like, I didn't know it was different. You know, I'd lay in my bed, and sometimes I'd go into my sister's room because I was scared of Santa Claus, which I know we were just talking about Santa Claus.
Yes.
And the Easter Bunny and all those things. So I'd get scared and go in my sister's room and sleep with her. But I would lay in bed, and I would try to grab the spirits around me.
Oh.
And she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm trying to catch them. And she's like, ooh. And I'm like, you don't see them? Can't you see them? Sometimes I would see them as people, like the shape of people, but sometimes I just saw it as like energy, really.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, doesn't everybody see them? You know? But
and she was like, get out of my room.
She's like, you're freaking me out. Get out. She knew I was a little strange, so she was okay with it.
Okay. Are you middle child by any chance?
I am.
Oh my gosh, middle children unite.
Oh gosh, here we go.
Yep,
Yes.
middle child, third child, yep. So
that's what it is.
Yep. So then when I was like in 5th grade, I remember I was telling my mom I used to love to play with the Ouija board by myself.
Oh,
That's a little creepy.
Yeah.
They make movies about that.
That is just a myth that it's bringing in evil. No such thing. You know, it's like a great tool to connect to those in the spirit world.
And that's good.
And there's nothing scary about it. So anyway, I would use it when I was young. And I would tell my mom, oh, I talked to your father. Well, he died when she was a teenager.
Wow.
But I would tell her things that she was like, well, how do you know that? Like, that's right. How do you? And I'm like, he told me. You know, like, don't you see him? So,
hasn't he been talking to you?
Right. So it was just, you know, and then every house we lived in when I was growing up was an old house, like built in the 1800s. Because I grew up in northern New York. A lot of the houses were part of the Underground Railroad and stuff, so they were really old houses. But everywhere we would move, my family would joke, well, wherever Carol goes, the ghosts will follow.
right.
You know, so
Sometimes they were probably waiting for you.
they were. They're like, come on in. The last house we lived in, the one that I lived in from like 6th grade to graduation from high school, there was actually a woman that lived in that house before we did, and she passed in the house. Well, when we bought the house, my parents did not want to tell us that because they didn't want us to be scared or anything like that. But I started communicating with her right away, and I would say to my parents, oh, Mrs. Collins is here. And I'm like, how did she know the name of the woman that lived here?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
And at no point did your family try to buy you your own house? Like, put you in it? Like, you
You're like,
stay
you
there.
sleep in the shed. You can have all
You
your
and all your
spirits
friends
with
go
you.
out there.
Yeah,
So did anybody else in your family have that gift?
Well, actually, I found out just in recent years, my great-grandmother on my father's side was an incredible psychic.
Okay.
Like, really, really, like, amazing psychic. And I didn't know that until, you know, I don't know, it was 5 or 10 years ago that my dad shared it with me. She had a crystal ball, which I'm very upset that nobody saved that for me.
Oh my
I'm
God.
And she taught my dad how to do it. So I didn't know that my dad knew how to do it until I was my early 20s. I was dating a guy who was a Navy SEAL, and we invaded Panama. So does that date me?
Oh,
Way
Yeah.
back in the 80s.
I'm with you, honey. Right there with you.
So you understand.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I came home from college break because it happened in the winter, like close to December. It was in December, I think.
Yeah.
But I was coming home for break, and my dad said, well, I'm going to read your cards for you and tell you what's going on. Because I had no way of knowing if he was okay or
Sure.
anything. And I looked at my dad and I said, what do you mean you're going to read my cards? And he said, get out a regular deck of cards. And he said, I'm going to tell you what's going on. So he starts telling me all this stuff. And I'm looking at him like, are you crazy? Like,
not even tarot cards?
no,
just regular cards?
regular cards.
That's such a
Yeah.
cool party trick.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, and I'll tell you a little bit about party tricks later.
Ooh, is that on or off the recording? Is that after you turn the mic off?
It's not that
We're
risque.
gonna get a party trick. I had no idea. I didn't see that coming.
I'm not that much fun.
Oh, shucks. We'll leave it on then.
Yeah, so anyway, when the boyfriend came back, I told him everything my dad said, and he said everything he told you was exactly right.
That's so
Wow.
And I was like, Dad, you got to show me how to do that.
cool.
So he showed me, although I'm not a good listener, and I'm not great at memorization, so I couldn't really remember what the cards meant or anything, but I decided I was going to start reading cards for friends. You know?
Okay.
And I had no clue what I was doing. But I would do it for friends and stuff, and they'd be like, wow, like, you're dead on. Pardon the pun. So I was like, oh, just a coincidence. And then after I broke up with the Navy SEAL, I met the guy who's now my husband, and 2 weeks in, I said, do you want me to read your cards? And he was like, well, what does that mean? And I'm like, it'll just be fun. It's just a,
It's just
fun
a nothing.
thing. Yeah, nothing. So I start reading his cards, and he got a little upset, and he was like, stop. Stop.
Oh my
and he's
gosh.
like, how do you know this stuff? Because his family did not live around where we were in college. And he said, how do you know this stuff? And I'm like, am I right?
Wow. Cards. What part of that don't you get?
So he made the rule then that I was never to do it again. And I've never done it again for him.
Really?
Are you kidding?
But party tricks, back to party tricks.
Okay.
When we were young and in our 20s and we would have friends over and the party would start to get a little dull, he'd say, who wants Carol to read her cards?
Oh my gosh. So he
So
was completely
he was-
fine with you doing it for other people. And of course he probably still is.
Yeah, he was pimping me out, taking money on the side.
Exactly. He's like, I'll take 20%. He does that.
He tries. Locking that money up.
Oh yeah, I only made $20 today. I saw 4 clients.
So anyway, so that's kind of how it started. But back then, I didn't take it seriously. You know, I would have a cocktail when we were doing, of course, we were having friends over or whatever. I didn't understand where the information was coming from, and I really chalked it all up to coincidence. Like, every time I did it for somebody, I would literally say to them, this is just for fun. Don't believe anything I tell you.
Right.
But everybody would come back and say, oh my gosh, like, everything was so accurate.
Right.
And I just kept saying, just coincidence, just coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
So I, was in a corporate marketing job until I was 40 years old. And when I was 40, I decided to leave that job and become a consultant. And I had been living with major depression for years, like since I was a teenager. And in that year after I left that job, I'm really being a downer, aren't I?
No.
You guys are looking at me so seriously.
No.
Yeah, I'm like,
No,
oh my
this is
gosh,
really
Debbie
interesting.
Downer.
No, we would never let you. We will always
We'll laugh
be here
about it, yeah.
to pick you up and laugh at you.
See, I knew we were going to get a therapy session.
With you.
I mean, with you. I always get that mixed up. That preposition is always confusing. At, with, it's all the same.
I know what you meant.
Well, yeah, because you're a sidekick.
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm getting it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
So you're really depressed after you left
so I was really
marketing.
depressed, and in that year it got pretty bad after I left the marketing, and I thought, I don't know if I can keep going. Like, it just was done.
Right.
And somebody had given me a gift card to go get a massage, and the massage therapist said to me, can I ask you a personal question? Are you suffering from clinical depression? And I was like, how do you know that? And she said, well, I could just feel it in your skin and your muscles and stuff. And I thought, well, that's weird. I didn't know anything
Stop
about
touching me.
energy.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, well, stop feeling me then.
That's not what you're here for.
That's not how I thought this massage was going to go.
And that is not a happy ending. Don't tell me I'm depressed.
Oh my God.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay, so anyway, no, I don't remember where I was.
You were at your massage.
Oh, I was getting a massage. That's correct. So
Yes.
So she said, "Have you ever had Reiki?" And I was like, "I don't even know what that is." And she gave me a card for somebody and said, "I highly recommend you go see this person." So I thought about it for about 24 hours, and I thought, what have I got to lose? I've been on medications. I've seen every therapist in town. Like, nothing is helping, and I'm like at my end. So I've got to just give this one more try and see what happens. So the woman's name was Maureen Donahue, who you guys have heard me talk about her.
Well, we love her.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you guys go to her?
Yes,
we do.
Oh, yes, I love her.
Love.
So, yeah. So I went to see her, and I remember in the first few minutes, I'm thinking, wait, I'm paying somebody to wave their hands over me? Like, I was like, what the hell am I doing? You know?
And why am I not in that job?
So I just didn't get it. You know? But after probably 10 or 15 minutes, I finally just let go. And when I went into this deep meditation, like I was just gone. And I remember coming out of it, and she was looking at me like, oh, Lord, what just happened? And I'm like, what happened? What did I do? And I talked for a little bit, but basically the gist of the conversation was, she said, you're a medium. And I'm like, well, sometimes I know things, and sometimes I feel dead people around me, but no, I wouldn't say that I'm a medium. And she's like, yeah, I think you need to learn more about this.
Oh.
So I ended up going to New York to take a class with James von Prague, just like a weekend workshop. Mm-hmm. And something happened in that class where we had to partner up with people and give a reading. And the evidence that I brought through for the girl was like pretty crazy evidence. Her father had actually come to see me 2 weeks before that workshop.
Oh, wow.
On Easter Sunday, there was this man that kept showing himself to me. I didn't know how to turn myself off then, so... but he kept showing himself to me, and I was like, who is this guy, And then when I got to the workshop, he said, partner up with somebody in the room. There's like well over 100 people in this room, and the girl came from the other side of the room, came over and said, will you partner with me? So I said, yeah. And so he said, okay, one of you give the name of the person you want to connect with to the other person. So she gave me the name, and all of a sudden that man was standing right next to me again.
Oh, wow.
And I started describing him to her, and she just started crying.
Oh.
And she said, "That's my dad." And I said, "Well, he said to tell you thank you for the wedding." And apparently what happened was he was really, really sick. They moved the wedding up so he could be there, and he passed within like a couple weeks after the wedding.
Oh.
Right.
So she stood up and told the whole class about it.
And get a load of this.
We got a crazy one. We got a live one here. Yeah. So, when she did that, Jane Van Brugge said, you're an evidential medium and you really should, look into developing this. And I was like, okay, but I didn't know what evidential medium meant.
Right.
I didn't know what any of it meant. So, and I do want to just say, because I know a lot of times as humans, we want another human being to validate this ability for us.
Yes.
And I would just say, you don't need that validation from somebody else. This is a story that happened to me, but looking back, so nice that he did validate that for me, but we have to trust our own souls. We can't always be looking for somebody else to tell us what we're supposed to be doing with this life.
Right.
And, even though he said that to me, I did try to reject that for quite some time. I was developing, I was going to more classes and stuff, but didn't think that it was what I was supposed to do for work.
Right.
I didn't see that I could actually use this to help other people or even make a living, doing it. So, and the funny thing is, when I was little, somebody asked me what I wanted to do for a living, and I said, I want to work with ghosts. Oh. That's what I called them back then.
Okay.
I don't refer to them as ghosts, but now, and they said, well, there is no job like that. And I said, okay, then I want to work with serial killers.
Ah,
so isn't that great? This is why I'm obsessed with your show.
And that, my friends, is what you call full circle.
That's right.
That is it. Isn't that crazy?
Awesome. Yeah, my son used to want to be a clown he wanted to be a clown at night, but a bank robber during the day.
Oh, perfect.
And I was like, but you might want to switch that up.
Yeah. He could wear the clown outfit.
And he was convinced that one of my grandfathers had been a bank robber because I had at one time a big, or one of us had a big thing of pennies that had been his, and he was convinced he had robbed a bank to get all those pennies. So that's what he was going to be. And he was like, I'm just going to be what my grandfather was and be a bank robber.
Oh, that is so funny.
What a great role model.
He wasn't a bank robber. He was a pharmacist. He was a drug dealer.
He was a drug dealer.
My dad was a drug dealer, too.
Yeah.
Pharmacist, kidding.
Yeah, that could be the clown part.
Yes,
right.
I'm a drug dealer, but I dress up as a clown so nobody knows.
So you're in your 40s. You're stuck in this marketing job that is obviously sucking the life out of you. Mm-hmm. Now you're starting to discover, okay, I can make a go of it. How did you do that? How did you become
How did you make that leap?
Yeah.
Well, leaving my corporate job was a huge leap in itself. And it was because my daughter was having anxiety because I worked all the time.
Right.
So that leap right there was really hard because I used to be a very fear-based person. Everything was fear. Like, oh my God, I can't leave my job. We won't survive. We're going to end up homeless. We won't have food. Everything in my life was fear-based, which is probably why I was so depressed. But yeah, it was like once I started developing this, but also doing healing work, because I don't think you can be a medium. You can develop your mediumistic skills all you want, but if you don't do your own healing work, those mediumistic skills are not going to work the way they need to. So I did a lot of healing work, and just combining those two things, it just started. It was like. I felt like, and I like to use the word God because I was raised Catholic and stuff, but...
and I think it's important that you say that because there are a lot of people who feel like having this gift of being a medium is not...
Is anti-God.
Is anti-God, right.
Yeah,
but that is a myth.
Yeah, right.
And a lot of people fear it because of that.
Yeah. And for me, it was like, I wanted to reject it. Like I said, how are you going to make a living doing that? How are we going to survive if that's what I decide to do? And not only that, but I didn't fully believe in it yet. I kept still saying, coincidence.
Sure.
I don't know how I'm getting that information, but coincidence, But I started asking God, if this is what you want me to do, give me signs. Give me a sign.
Right.
Okay, so the first sign comes like that, in a second.
Oh, really?
And then I'm like, no, give me another sign.
No, that wasn't the right one.
So I spent months telling God to give me another sign. It was like daily, and I'm sure God was like, well, can I kick you in the ass now? Like,
yeah, exactly.
what
do
do
you
I
want, a
gotta
lightning
do?
bolt through the head?
Right.
Like, what's it going to take for you?
It was, I'm sure, very frustrated with me. Like, hello. But the weird thing is that once I started doing the work and started, like, helping other people and getting into it, my depression, it was like it faded away. It was like the weight of the world was lifted off of me. I was finally doing what I was supposed to be doing. And
you were,
it's the
I think
craziest
the act
thing.
of healing other people gives you back so much reward from that.
Yeah.
And then that way that reward would be the lift of your depression or some, the lift of your anxiety. I just think that reaching through to help, to genuinely help those people, not because it's your job, because you want to heal, you want people to heal.
Right, yeah.
That return in that is going to be that huge wave of positive energy that's going to get rid of whatever that depression was.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
It helps you, it forces you to work on your own stuff too. Like I always tell my people who take my mentorship program, I always warn them in the beginning, if you got shit you've been trying to bury, it is going to come up. You cannot hide it when you're doing this work.
Yeah.
Because as you're working with other people, as you're trying to help other people through their healing, things are going to be triggered for you.
Right.
And if you haven't worked on that stuff, it's really hard to help other people through it if you haven't done your own work on it.
Sure, yeah.
So, and that's why, too, like I say, I always tell people when they take my beginner level class, you're not going to take a 4-week class and put a sign on the door and say, I'm a professional medium now.
I did that.
I know you did. And I was like, take that sign down.
I took it down. Of course, it was right outside my cubicle at work, so people were confused. You doing medium or spreadsheets? What are you doing?
Stopping in at the cubicle. Can I get a 5-minute reading?
Yeah.
$10 for 5 minutes.
That's right. Like Lucy with the 5 cents and the 10 cup. The medium is in. Yes.
I love that. I can totally see that.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be given more advice than reading.
Exactly.
She's doing your therapy session.
This is what
I'm going to say
wants you to
Spirit is
hear.
asking me to ask you, where did you come up with this outfit?
Yes.
It's not working. I mean, that's not your color.
Your color guide is coming through right now.
And so is your hairstyle guide. And he wants to know about them roots. See, yeah, that's my calling. But I have not found a niche for it yet.
I'm sure I could find some people who could use that.
Only once. That's the problem. They're one and done kind of people.
Right. Well, you don't want the repeat business.
No.
You want to heal people right off the get-go.
I want
Let
you
them
to
move
heal
on.
and move on.
Yep.
That's the next line.
I don't want you coming back. You
No.
do enough good for you.
Exactly. You're going to get all you're going to get in one 5-minute session.
5
Yes.
cents. 5 minutes.
That's right. That's
right.
exactly right.
Time is money.
Yep.
That's what I tell my kids. Time is money.
Absolutely.
Well, that's really awesome, though, that you have been able to. I just admire so much people who can turn a gift, which into something that works for them, heals other people, and you can sustain your family with it.
Yeah.
And I just think that in itself is just a huge gift with a big bow on it. And
Yeah.
it's really admirable that you've been able to do that. And to take that leap, that must have just been terrifying.
It was really terrifying to do. I mean, first of all, you got to come out of the closet about it, right?
Yeah.
Like you have family members, like my side of the family knew, but my husband's side of the family did not know.
Oh.
And so
Surprise!
Yeah, I'm like, hello, I talked to dead people.
Yeah.
Oh wait, am I getting that accent from you?
I think
Probably.
I don't talk with that accent.
I'm not sure. One of my dead relatives is giving you that accent, I'm sure.
Somebody from England, I'd say.
Yeah, see?
I'm bringing a spot of tea.
Lovey.
Gosh, this is going way
Where
off
is
track
this coming
here.
from?
So I
Okay.
guess we could talk about how we met.
Oh,
You
and
remember
I'd
how
love
we
to
met?
know your first
I
impression
do
of us.
remember.
Because you got us both at the same time.
sure
Yes.
did.
Oh my God, that was crazy.
Most people just get us one at a time, but you've got both at the same time.
You came in like
A wrecking
full-fledged.
ball.
I'm like, oh God, how are we going to get this done in an hour? Right.
Yeah.
I think you might have been the last appointment of the day
But
or
we were.
something.
We actually were the last
Were
appointment
you?
of your
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, because
yes.
I can't see getting you out in 50 minutes.
Well, not only that, but afterwards you had to have taken a nap. You had to have just laid right on the
every class you guys were in, when I got home, I was like, whoa, that was exhausting.
Think how a mother feels.
I know. She's got to be tired.
She's real tired.
Your mother's
She's
a
left
saint.
the state. She's so tired. She said, I got to go, girls.
You're wearing me out.
Yes, absolutely. But she's used to that. I've always worn her out. Anne didn't start until she was an adult, but I've done it since I was 2.
Oh, for heaven's
So
sake.
she had built the endurance by the time Anne was
Yes.
ready to do it.
Absolutely.
right.
I paved the way, so you're welcome, sugar.
Thank you.
You're so kind to her.
I know. So good to her.
Yes.
Tell her again.
Are you going to look at me and lie? I don't think you can.
I can't. When I looked at you, I was like, I can't
I can't lie.
lie.
So, just real quick, I do have this one question before you talk about my favorite topic, which is me. Do your kids have this gift?
They do.
Okay.
So my son, who's 27, he has it, but I don't really think he wants it so much. When he was a teenager and sometimes spirits would come into his room, he'd say, go talk to my mom, she'll help you.
Oh, that's
so
smart.
nice.
Yeah, so he would lead them away. And so when I would try to have conversations with him, he didn't seem really interested in it. He shared some more stuff. He has a lot of premonitions, like lots of dreams of things that are coming.
Okay.
So I've actually asked him recently to help me with some things that I'm working on.
Oh.
So he's opening up more to it and allowing it. My daughter has the ability. She just has to work to develop it more. His is like, like it's there. He doesn't want to work to develop it. Hers is just like, but we all do. Like, I'm still a developing medium. I've been doing this for years and I teach it, but you never finish developing.
I would imagine that you don't in something like this.
And I would hope that anybody who wants to do this doesn't ever feel like, I don't have to keep practicing. I don't have to keep getting better. Because you do. You have to keep, and every experience is different. So you never know what's going to happen in the next session, what you're going to learn. And that's one thing I'm really grateful for, is how much I'm taught by those in the spirit world.
Right.
That's great.
So, yeah. But I have to keep developing. I practice every week with a group of mediums. They're all professional mediums, and we meet on Zoom once a week and practice, and we'll say, okay, this is something that I'm not getting really well, or I'm struggling with this, let me work on this, and we push each other. Like, don't back off and say, all right, you're not getting it, don't worry about it. It's like, no, let's push and push us more, because there's always more to learn.
Right.
That's awesome.
But let's talk about you guys now.
Oh my gosh.
So the first time you came to see me, I think you had been to a psychic in Florida?
Yes.
Right? And she had you so scared.
You were wrapped around the axle on that one.
She got us good. She got us good.
Yep. So, and that's one thing, too, that I'm always like, if somebody starts telling you something that's creating fear for you, I'm not saying this in a way that I want to bash anybody or anything, but fear doesn't come from the spirit world. Only love comes from the spirit world.
I would like for you to say that one more time and say it loudly, because I think so many people don't know.
Should I sing it?
No, I can't say that.
Can you dance it out?
Oh, I could. I'm a very good dancer.
Expressively dance it out.
Can you hear my expressive dancing?
Yes, because I'm going to give a blow by blow.
Shaking to the left.
That's right. Oh, she shook both ways. I don't know how she did that.
No, I forgot what I said. Okay. Fear. Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Fear does not come from the spirit world. Only love comes
Only
from
Only love.
Only
No
love.
fear.
Yeah. And I've met with thousands and thousands of people in the spirit world, and never once have I found one that wants to give anything that's fearful.
Even if they were not so great in this life.
Absolutely. I have connected with people who were child molesters. I have connected with people who were murderers, with people who were robbers, were people, who did all sorts of things in the physical world. They are not like that in the spirit world.
That's good to know.
Yeah. There's so much learning that they have gone through. And, I say when we're born, what we are is love.
Sure.
We're pure love. We don't know hate. We don't know, being greedy or jealous or anything like that when we're born. And that's what we go back to after we pass. Okay. We let go of all the fears that we have built up in our life, And all those fears have turned into jealousy, greed, anger, like all the negative emotion kind of stuff, all comes from fear. But we let go of that when we pass. We let go of the ego that creates so much fear for us, and we go back to what we originally were, which is love.
Good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
that's good to know.
Yeah.
So we had come to you, we had been on a trip to Florida, and the reason that we went on this big trip to Florida, we took our kids, and we started in Miami. We drove down to Key West, and along the way, Kieran's daughter said, "Oh my God, we have to go get a reading. We have to get a reading." But our father had passed away and left us a little bit of money, and that's kind of why we were on the trip. And his passing was it was a very tumultuous time for us. There was a lot of stress around. Of course, I mean, it was our father passing, but there were some other issues surrounding it. Mm-hmm. And this psychic had not told my sister this, but she had honed in on me somehow and told me that my father was unsettled, that there was something that needed to be done with the way he had died.
In the way that his estate was being handled.
And the way his estate was being handled. And on top of that, she told me I had a love curse. That all of my relationships with men were doomed to fail.
And that it went as far back as our grandmother.
Yeah, that it was like a family love curse. And because I was married, and then this is like the best I'm turning 30 story ever. I had a baby, I got divorced, and I turned 30 all in the same year. And
sure, I think it was in the same month.
It seemed like it was in the same month.
Yeah. Very busy.
Got pregnant, separated, had the baby, got divorced, turned 30. Bam. Mm-hmm. And I dated some when I was younger, but I've decided that I wanted to raise my son. Mm-hmm. But I've not had successful relationships with men. So for one person to say, you've got a love curse, I was like, oh my God, how do I make this go away?
And we're going to pass it to our kids.
Yes.
Which we're like, oh, great.
So this crazy woman called, she got my number, and she called me because she said she was going to help me get rid of that curse.
Because she also knows that Daddy left some money.
Right. Right.
I mean, I don't know how she figured that out because we hardly had enough money to pay her that day to make a trip to the ATM.
Yes, we did. Well, and I was the one that went to the ATM to get the money. I guess maybe that's why she honed in on me. But she called me the last time she contacted me. She said, I need to buy a crystal. And that will help me, figure out why your dad can't be peaceful and why, how to help you get rid of this love curse.
Yeah.
So we came back to South Carolina. I said, Karen, we have got to call somebody and figure out, I can't sleep at night.
Right.
But once she said that to you, suddenly it's in your mind, and that's what you're going to create for yourself.
Sure.
It's almost like you're going to make sure that you don't have any great relationships because that's what's been put in your head.
Yeah. I was like, well, of course that's it.
And to me, as you're telling this story, I'm feeling like she's projecting on you. She was probably having some love relationship issues and projecting that on you because she's in a place of fear about relationships too. So,
somehow we found you.
Yeah,
and made the appointment, and then bam, we busted through your door.
Yeah, and there you were. Yeah. And then after that, you guys took my class.
Yes.
Awaken Your Ability.
Yes, we did, and it was
Introduction to Mediumship.
I got to tell you, that class did so much to change my life.
Aww.
It changed
in a good way?
In a good way.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I would have sued you by now if it were not a good way. You'd have heard from my attorney.
Good thing I got those legal disclaimers.
No, I think that it changed me in so many ways. And first of all, I will say it's part of it was just being in your positive healing presence, I think, did a lot for me. But it was the first time in my life that I had been in a room with people that I've never met before who were from all walks of life and bonded so tightly with 90% of that class.
Yes, and you've kept those relationships.
We've kept those relationships, and those relationships have evolved so far, and I mean, into what I would consider lifelong friends, even though we've known them just a short time.
Yeah, right. Was it been like 3 or 4 years?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that your class did for me. It was, bonded with people that I just would have never thought. It was out of my realm of thinking that I would ever have a reason to bond with somebody.
Right. And it's not like you can just walk up to people on the street and be like, hey, do you see dead people? Because I'd like to talk about that.
It's the same thing with murder. They don't really like to talk about that. It's like, you want to talk about
I don't
serial
believe
killers?
that. I believe that people love to talk about serial killers.
No, at work I have to really tone that down. So that was the first thing for me that it did. And it also, there were some things inside of me that I think started to heal through that, because I had a lot of healing to do. I still have a lot of healing to do, but I think that it started in a completely different way. I mean, like I've told you before, I've been through therapy so many times. It's not even funny. I could conduct the therapy at this point. I just need the person to take my money to make it legitimate. So I mean, it won't feel like therapy unless I'm writing them a big check. But it's the first time that I had ever started that inner self-healing on my own in such a different way.
Yeah.
And it felt so good.
Yeah.
So it gave me perspective, and I feel like that whatever happened, the stars aligned, and we all came together as that group, and we were all there as a reason to touch each other's lives, which is the craziest feeling.
No, that's the way I feel about those classes. Like, I understand some people want to take the class because they are thinking, maybe I want to see if I do have this ability and stuff, but that's not the reason for everybody to take the class. And I do think a big part of it is the relationships you build, because I see people, I teach the class 3 times a year, and I see people click just like this, snap of a finger. So it's just like, I know that they were meant to be in this room together.
Because you would never even come across these people if you weren't in that room together. Yeah. Which is crazy, because I went because my sister said I really want to go, and I was like, fine, sure, I'll go with you.
And I thought it was going to be a lecture series. I had no earthly idea that we were going to be, the first night you were going to ask us to read another person in the room. I was like, this woman has lost her mind. I can't do that.
And I have, haven't I?
Yeah. Which is why we love it.
Right.
It's perfect. We fit perfectly together.
I said, absolutely, I can't do this. And Karen said, just try.
Yeah.
And I tried it, and my gosh, it worked.
Yep,
it did.
You
work.
got connections.
I could not believe it.
And that's what I love as the teacher walking around watching everybody trying it for the first time. When they say, you know what, I'm connected. How did I do that?
For me, it was the day that you made me be your partner, which was so intimidating, and I had to describe your front door.
Oh, yeah.
And I got it right.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, she's not faking. She's the teacher. She's going to tell me if I got that wrong.
I'm not that nice.
I know, because I kept thinking, well, maybe this person's just being nice. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And then it was just crazy.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, wait a minute, and then I've got my sister always saying, you have the same gift I have. You just are blocking it. And even Maureen has said, your third eye is shut so tight. Like, you got to squeeze it open. So, but I just think that class started me on a path that I never saw myself on. I wouldn't have been in my wildest dreams. And it was such a great experience. I keep trying to get my daughter to come and take it, and she will one day. She's just
one day when she's ready.
When she's ready, yes. And when it'll just happen. It'll happen naturally, because it happened naturally for us.
Yeah.
So she has the gift. I really think that your daughter has the.
She's the medical empath.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does she feel it? Like,
I think she feels other people's.
She doesn't. I don't know. Does she feel it? It's like it drops in her head.
I think she knows it.
Claircognizant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's how she gets
it. She's a person who has a lot of anxiety in her life, and I think it's because her subconscious, because she's not tapping into it, knows things that she doesn't want to know.
Yeah, I think that the connection of depression, anxiety, that kind of stuff, for a lot of people, it's that we've shut down our intuition. And we all have intuition. I mean, that was a gift that everybody was given.
Yes.
But so many of us don't tune into it, don't pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
And then there's the next level of, then some people have psychic, which is a little bit more than intuition, like being able to read other people's energy and just knowing things about them. It's more than just like, intuitively we're often given information like, that person doesn't feel really good, maybe I need to keep clear of that,
Yes.
or maybe I need to look right before I pull out this green light, and oh God, thank God I looked to the right because there was a car coming
Exactly.
flying through the,
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that's kind of our intuition stuff. The psychic stuff is when, you can look at somebody, you could look at me, connect with my energy, and tell me what my front door looks like.
Yeah.
That's
That was the craziest
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
And then the mediumship is connecting to those in the spirit
Yes.
world. So, which, I'm not going to say that everybody's a medium, but I feel like everybody can notice the signs of their loved ones trying to connect with them.
Absolutely.
So we can all make the connection. Some of us can communicate more, actually have that conversation with them and get information, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just think that class isn't really just supposed to only be for people who are psychic or medium. It's really to help everybody start to understand that we can all tune in.
And I think for me, it really helped me understand how to tune in, that it's okay to be tuned in, and to embrace the signs that are given to me instead of either trying to logically explain them away or to fear them.
Yep.
And I think for me, that's been huge. And when I look back on my childhood, I was very fearful.
Yep.
And it's because I can tell you I was being visited on a regular basis, and I was deathly terrified of that. And so now I wish my younger self would just stop, get over yourself, and receive whatever message was there.
Yeah.
Because I just built, brick after brick after brick, built this wall.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but I think for your class, it was the first time that I was like, oh my gosh, it's okay. And there is nothing to fear.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
No.
Yeah.
So,
And for me, when I was younger, it would come through as I always felt like somebody was chasing me, or I was in a race against somebody. But it, when it would happen, I'd get the hair standing up on my arms and the chill. And I wasn't running because I was scared. I was running because it was a game we were playing.
Yeah.
So that kind of started me on the path. But what your class really taught me was to learn to trust myself.
Yeah.
To learn, it's like if it drops in your head, it's there
real.
for a reason, and it's real.
Yes.
So,
to trust it. That's a
which helps you in so many other places in your life.
Right. Yeah,
Trust yourself, which I think that part of us gets somehow very muddied as children because we learn to trust the adults around us instead of ourselves. Because if you I think now people are very in tune to it, but if in the olden days, if an adult walked in the room and your child did not go give them a hug and a kiss, you were being rude and you were forced to go and interact with that person.
Yeah.
Which that's your intuition.
Right.
And we're told that that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's rude. That's not acceptable. You got to push through that.
Right.
So eventually that intuition gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then we do start to live in fear because we have no intuition.
Right. Yeah, we've pushed it behind us and we're not going to pay attention to it.
So if somebody wants to find you and take your class, how do they do that?
Well, they can go online. My website is ccottrell.com, which is just CCOTTRELL.com. Also on Facebook, Carol Cottrell Spiritual Medium. And because I have another session of my spring class is coming up. It starts April 16th, I think, and it's a 4-week class. And then, I do mentorships too. But I always tell people, if you're considering the mentorship, take the beginner level class first.
Absolutely.
Because that's such a foundation, just an introduction to it. So you start to learn the lingo and how are you connecting? What are the different ways to connect and stuff? Because I think that's that 4-week class is a good way to get that information before you dive into a one-on-one mentorship with me, where we get pretty intense of where you are in your abilities.
Right.
So, and one of the other reasons I started that class is when I did start wanting to learn more, there was nobody to learn from around here. Nobody was even talking about mediumship around here. I'm are there even mediums here? I don't know, you know? So, so that's why I traveled a lot. My mentors are all from England.
I love that.
Yeah. So this
So
very
we've totally offended all of them.
I can assure you, if they've listened to our podcast at all,
With
we've
our
offended
accents.
them.
Oh, yes. I
Because-
have one mentor in particular who would be very upset with your
I'm
language.
sure.
But you know what? Lisa Williams was my mentor, and she will curse all day long, so it won't bother her a bit. She'd love it, you know.
She probably wouldn't love our accents that we try to talk British, and we sound like some kind of I don't know, bingo wheel that's like jumping all the things up. Yeah.
It sounds right in my head.
In my head, I am so British.
Yeah.
I am so, like, to the core, I'm
Maybe
British.
a past life.
Maybe so. And I feel like I'm Irish and I'm Scottish as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
but when I go to speak like those people in that beautiful tone, it comes out as something so
they're
bad.
like, stop,
Please.
just stop.
It's like fingernails on a chalkboard.
I'm actually going to Ireland and Scotland this summer, and I was reading the 30 things not to do, and one of them is do not pretend that you have the accent. They said they get very offended by it.
They wouldn't even know what accent I was trying to be. They'd be like, we don't know
Where
where
are you
you're from. So, and I always say, that's my Southern Irish.
Actually heard you say that on one of your podcasts.
Yes. That's kind of how it comes out. It's very Southern Irish or Southern something. Yeah, unknown. Question mark. Yes. So, and another way they can get in touch with you is if they don't find you, if they can't figure out how to do all those things, they can email us and we'll point them in the right direction.
That's so nice of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, and you're on our group page.
Yes.
So we can
I'm in there
we can
always
also,
like commenting because I'm like a stalker fan.
We love it.
We love it. Well, it's nice to know we're not just talking to ourselves.
I wanted one of your coffee mugs, but then I heard that one of your fans sent it to you. I'm like, oh man,
Yeah.
she's like buttering up to you guys. I'm like, how do I get in the goods here?
I'm just saying, all gifts are accepted and encouraged.
All right, I'll have to come up with something. I don't bake, so no gifts from them.
No problem. We've got the baking covered.
Yeah,
That's the easy part.
I was actually wondering if you might bring some baked goods with you tonight.
Had we,
And you're not the first person to ask. And a lot of people have been expecting that we would be bringing baked goods with us.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to do it every day. You know?
Right.
Like,
We don't actually bake every day. I mean, we would
Just
if we could make a living
every
out of
weekend
it. But
when we
every
record,
weekend when
we
we
bake.
record, we do bake.
And we have been trying to give stuff away.
We did when we
trying to give stuff away.
Yes, because we're
Oh my
not.
gosh, we can't eat all that stuff.
No. Oh, right. I
This
guess it
is
sounded
true.
like maybe people wouldn't just take it. Right. I understand what you're saying.
No, because we did give Katie some lady sponge.
We did.
What? You brought
She got
her
lady
some
sponge.
lady sponge?
We
Yes,
did.
because we podcasted literally that day, and that afternoon we went to her.
Yes,
so it was
because I heard you
fresh.
say we're going to see Farmer Kate
Yes.
at the end of the podcast.
And we
Yeah,
took with
listen.
us some
You do
sponge.
listen.
So she got some sponge.
We'll
Yes.
be better about it. We'll start.
But now that we
baking
know
things.
where your new office is, we'll be able to bring it to you.
I'm like,
right.
oh, they know where I am
And
now.
you're going to regret this. Oh my gosh. No, we'll just put it on the doorstep and ring the bell and leave. And you can be like, Spirit dropped off the best coffee cake.
It's amazing.
Yes. Love this.
Must be psychic.
Maybe.
So.
Maybe.
Yes, so this has been wonderful. So, but
Yeah.
you don't just teach classes and you don't just give lectures, you give readings.
I do private readings.
Yes.
So one-on-one or up to 3 people can come for a private session.
Try not to bring alcohol.
Yes. No alcohol, please. It changes the vibration and it makes it harder to do the work. So, yes, thank you for reminding listeners
Yes,
of that.
don't bring alcohol.
You wouldn't expect people to bring alcohol to a therapy session. So
No, but my therapist probably drank heavily after I left. Something tells me. She had that
a stash.
challenge. Oh, yeah.
I'd say mine probably did too. She was at the end of our session. She was always had a teacup and she was drinking.
She's
and I'd be like, that
chugging.
tea is not any gold.
It's-
Now that I think about it, she was
It was
like,
vodka.
holy shit.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
I don't know how we're getting her through this
Was
one.
it brown and look like tea? Or some
It
bourbon?
It might have been.
Is that what
Bourbon,
bourbon looks like?
bourbon.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mm.
I don't
Yes.
drink
Sorry.
that kind of, tequila.
Uh,
Which I know you girls can't do tequila.
No.
I only do margaritas.
Margaritas are good.
Yeah, but I can't do anything else.
You know why I can't do tequila? Cotillion?
Tequila, that would be the reason right there.
Yes. Tequila makes me mean.
Oh, then don't do it.
And I really think that it's just not good for society whatsoever.
And tequila makes me lose all of my inhibitions. So it's really better that I
could be
don't.
fun.
That's, You know that song, Tequila Makes Her Clothes Fall Off? That was written about Anne.
Might have been.
Yes.
It just makes me talk a lot, which is not unusual.
Yeah, how would we know?
You won't.
So you've been on it today.
No, only Friday nights, but this week I am doing a group reading on Saturday, so there'll be no alcohol for me.
No alcohol.
Yes, I don't have alcohol at least 24 hours in advance before doing
that's
readings.
good to
So
know.
none during the week, and then if I'm doing weekend events or readings. Because in addition to the private readings, I do group events, so in that, and I also do my own events that you can get tickets online, like I have a couple that are coming up that are 10-person events that I'm going to do psychic and mediumistic readings.
That's cool.
So that's kind of a new thing. You know, most of my demonstrations are strictly mediumship, but this is, I'm going to incorporate the psychic in it too. So
That's
some
really
people will
exciting.
get some color readings, some card readings.
Nice.
And
So
then also
everybody in
connecting-
the room, because it's a 10-person,
Yep.
10 persons, everybody in the room will get a little something.
We'll get something.
That's great.
I don't know what it'll be yet.
Everybody gets a party
It's a
prize.
surprise.
It sounds
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
might have to sign up for one of the
Yes.
one of
I
those
so
events.
agree.
When
They
those
go
go on
really
sale,
quick.
they do go
So
quick.
we might
yeah.
have to put our reservation in before.
Right.
You might have to turn on your psychic.
Yes. Right before she drops
Is it
it, she's
coming?
like, this is for 10 people. Delete, delete, delete. 8 people. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll
Tune
work on
into
it. We'll
yeah.
work on it.
Yes. Well, this has been
And then-
so fun, Carol, and we thank you so much for being a
Oh,
fan of
yes,
ours.
Thank you.
And for listening
So
and for
much
letting us
fun.
do this little break from murder. Sometimes we need to laugh and not talk about the.
Well, don't you guys laugh when you're talking
Oh
about
my
murder?
gosh! Is there a
Yes, oh
time
my
when I think I
gosh.
laugh in my sleep?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
hard.
really.
Yeah.
I think we walked in the door tonight laughing.
I'm
Right,
pretty
we
sure
did.
we
We
laughed.
did.
We were laughing before we even came
Yeah,
in. The
I
door.
heard you downstairs outside the door, and I thought, there's no way those two could ever sneak around.
No.
You could not
And
be
here's the funny
killers.
thing: I walked in and there's this sign, this chalkboard sign that says "hush," and I start like blasting out laughing, like, "Sugar, look, we're supposed to be quiet."
It says quiet.
It's like, oh
That's
my God.
not-
And that was it.
that's
We
not
lost
us.
it. So, and then this voice from upstairs said, "There's no way y'all can be quiet." And that was
That was
Carol.
my motherly voice.
Yes.
I thought I
Shush,
recognized
girls.
it. Shush. Yes,
Oh,
like our
my
mother
goodness.
says, girls.
Yeah, I'm
This
so
has been
excited
so
to see
much
what you
fun.
guys are doing. I mean, it's
Thank
so
you.
awesome,
We-
and I
We're
love
having
it.
a good time.
I have so much fun. You know what? I can't wait till the days it comes out. Like the rest of the week, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta wait until Tuesday. Is it Tuesdays it
Yeah.
comes out? I think
Yes.
you should give us a little bit of sneak.
We
on
give,
Monday,
yeah,
listen.
on the group page, on the fan page, y'all get it
Oh,
on Tuesday.
I'm special.
And then the rest of the world gets it on Wednesday.
Oh, I'm so special.
I
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
you are.
But
are.
it really is like I'm like I can't wait.
Well, thank you
know,
so
like,
much.
So I have to keep
Sweetest.
putting it on repeat and listen to you.
There's nothing wrong with
Get ready.
re-listening.
That's right. That's right.
All
I
right,
pick up
well-
something new every time.
I mean,
Good.
and that's good. You should
Yeah.
go back and listen again because I'm sure that
Hopefully
people,
not
yeah.
mistakes.
no
Keep it
mistakes.
to yourself.
There are no mistakes.
No, it's all scripted. Just kidding. Well, I'm going to say thank you.
Thank you. I
And
had
we
fun.
appreciate everything, and we hope that some people in our audience get curious enough to get in touch with you and
Yes.
come and talk to you, because I think that'd be wonderful. I think everybody can get huge benefits just with being in the room with you.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. So to our audience that's listening, we want you all to have a good week, and thanks for listening, and y'all stay
Stay
sweet.
sweet.
Bye now.
Bye.